9:08 p.m. as of the 17th, right? 9 and 8. February 26th, 2025. A couple of my Magador quotes, increasingly more relevant. You know, people, if you really want to be up to speed, you got to follow Juan O'Savin, okay? I mean, you talk about inside information. He's like on the inside, but he explains it to us folks out there in the world. And so the more you know about things, like I was going to make a longer video today, but I just don't have the energy right now. Because, one of the first little booklets that came out in U.S. history back in the 1770s was Common Sense by Thomas Paine. And it's basically using common sense. So the Epstein list, of course it's been out, and then you kind of figure things. If I like putting together puzzles, and I've been doing that since I was a little boy. In fact, I found my stamp collection from when I started in 1967. I got to go over that. That's going to be pretty interesting. But it's a fight between good and evil, and I didn't imagine it would be like this. It's not over, but I just never knew there were so many white hats that were going to kick bum and take care of business. Military people, and then us civilians doing our job, trying to. I guess the latest things is that we're so out there that there's kind of an inside comm that we're retards and Q-tards. And so some of the most serious people that are cleaning up the mess, folks, are some of the funniest. Like Trump is serious as a heart attack, and saving Israel for last. If you study the Bible, you know that there's the Pharisees and the Sadducees, and you know that Jesus was from the tribe of Judah, and so was the traitor that betrayed him, Judas. Juan goes deep into it, explains like Judas was kind of saying, hey, I'm taking care of the money. Sure was, but to sell out Jesus for 30 pieces of silver, which shows that silver's money. Silver's way more valuable than gold. People don't use their common sense and figure that out. They don't research the Grand Canyon. They don't look at the picture of the Rothschilds and Rockefellers. I think the Rockefellers hanging out in the Grand Canyon on their horses in like 1907 before the Federal Reserve. Where does gold go? To the bottom of the creek. Is the Grand Canyon a big creek? Hello, common sense. So of course there's thousands and millions of tons of gold in the bottom of the Grand Canyon. Duh. Can you take it out? No. What would that do to the price of gold? Collapse it. What are people buying now? Gold, central banks, and then XRP. XRP is, I'd rather have a Federal Reserve note than XRP. Duh. But I've got very good friends that are XRP. Well, what is XRP? Use common sense. Who's dumping it right now? Probably the banks. Who's buying it? The gullible. But you tell people the truth, they get mad at you. So, WTF. So, I know the whole Gaza thing seems weird, but that's why it's good to study the scriptures. I've got the Book of Enoch over there. That's the bottom line, is God wants people on earth to create societies like Enoch did. Enoch created a society, a civilization, and they were so righteous, he took them up to heaven. They didn't need to perfect themselves anymore. They perfected themselves on earth, right? On earth as it is in heaven. That's what God wants us to do. That's why it's such a struggle. And the more you try to do God's will, the more Lucifer, Satan, the green man, wants to take you out. But, it's kind of like making steel and whatever. We're going through the refiner's fire. I think I've gone through a little bit, but there's people that have gone through a lot more. So sometimes I kind of, I feel like, did I deserve all these blessings? But there's still, you get a lot of challenges, and, like saving Israel for last. That's been the calm from the Q movement since I've known about it, 6-7 years. Saving Israel for last. So it's not like we're buddies with Netanyahu and Isaac Rabin and Golda Meir and Balfour, manifesto from last year when the Rothschilds bought the land and decided to set it up for, a lot of Khazarian Jews. But it's not, if you look at any particular group of people, whether it's Mormons, Catholics, Protestants, Mohammedans, there's good and bad. And people seem to just so much, they just want to snap to judgment. All Mormons are bad. I disagree. All Catholics are bad. I disagree. All Muslims are bad. I disagree. All atheists are bad. I disagree. Now, when people start hurting children, that's categorically bad. And then when they do what they did, like Fauci, who started taking out people in the 80s. Common sense, Then you find out who Fauci's father is. It's hard to take all this stuff. And then the release of the Epstein client list, that's been out there for a while, but people, it's talk about misinformation, but that's part of the whole PSYOP thing. So that's why just using common sense, trying to relax. People got upset about the video with Trump hotel on Gaza, and Gaza going from a war zone to a beautiful resort. And then I watched a video on Redneck Renegade, I think, and it was pretty telling that a lot of Palestinians were put over in Dubai and the United Arab Emirates, which was turned into I know people who lived over there. They actually have ski slopes in the middle of the desert where it's 130 degrees, in bubbles and stuff like that. So a lot's going on, and just my recommendation as your brother, I have a lot of sisters out there, and I have a lot of brothers. And I love them. Some of them I don't want to talk to right now. I can't take it because there's so much going on. When there's too much going on, I just check out and do my own thing. I was out in the sun today. No chemtrails. And chemtrails is controversial. I know Axel's losing his shit about chemtrails. And then Juan has a different explanation sometimes when there's stuff sprayed in the sky. There's just... But I love Axel, by the way. He can be out there, but his mirror time and stuff, he's made my day many, many times by being so funny and so real and so direct, whoever the hell he is. He's just a good-looking badass, and he's been getting... he's always entertaining and refreshing. So I've got somebody on my back channels that sends me his videos. I'm glad, because it's kind of hard to find them. Anyway, so much is going on. And then Pam Bondi officially supposed to release a client list tomorrow morning at Epstein Island. But look at Necker Island. Look what a hero they made that, Virgin Airlines guy. He was a POS. Got his girlfriend pregnant when he was a little zitty teenager. Had her have an abortion. So he's been a bad guy since he was a teenager. Then they choose him and they build him up, put him on the magazine covers, and he's got the cool hair, the red hair. He's Mr. Necker Island, which, could be worse than Epstein or in that category. So there's good and evil. There's good Kennedys and bad Kennedys. Right? Yeah, right. And it's not party. It's not whether they're Democrat or Republican, because the Kennedys are Democrats. And I was pure Republican. My parents took me to see Nixon, when I was I guess I was 11 or something. I saw Nixon. And maybe even some when I was younger. But they loved Nixon. And Nixon ends up being a genius who memorized the codes and mentored Trump. So it goes deep. Of course, you can't believe everything. That's why I try to limit what I take in to the sources that I discern to be truthful. And I think Trump's a good guy. I know people put out shit that he's a bad guy. Well, I don't buy that. How do I judge Trump? I didn't used to watch You're Fired. I didn't watch that show. I didn't want to work at a golf course and make the best cake and serve a bunch of people. That wasn't my bag. So I didn't watch The Apprentice. Hardly ever. But I didn't watch much TV because I just read books instead. But when I saw that first debate with like 17 people challenging Trump, including Mitt Romney, who I knew from the Mormon Church and Harvard Stake President, and I watched, and the Bush family. Jeez, I met George Bush and shook his hand. What can I say? Not proud of it. So Bush family, at least he was intelligent, but he was no bueno. And then Shrub, the little one, was, and they're all Harvard MBAs, including me. So it's just, I'm kind of, not a come to Jesus moment, but putting a lot out there because everything's going on. A lot of things are going down. And if you look at the Q stuff, they were calling it 6-7 years ago. I just shut up because I kind of figured things out, and I didn't know exactly what the Q plan was. But when you find out that Pence was in on the assassination attempt of Trump in 2017, do you think that's a real Pence hanging around? And then the military put on the Q team, and the White House putting on the movie. Mnuchin's a genius, and so is Trump. But they put the movie out there, and it's to try to help people go through the Great Awakening. Like, Biden, fake Biden. Like 4 Bidens. You can just tell. But it takes some people, it takes them years to figure out that Biden's bad. Now they're running Jake Trapper, arguing with somebody about Biden's mental capacity. I mean, most people figured out Biden at least 4 or 5 years ago. And you have to be kind of dumb if it just happened the last year or two. And if you still think Biden's real, it just, heaven help you. So, with everything going on, of course, we're individuals. You think it's easy even for the top people in the Q movement or the people in the military that we're not even talking to? But you look at the Epstein client list, and you go back to JFK, and then it's getting released now that JFK wasn't happy about Israel pursuing nuclear bomb, nuclear arsenal. And they tried to deceive him, created a whole fake complex when he sent his people over to look at it. But people that love life don't want nuclear war, which is destruction. People that hate life, sons of Satan and Lucifer, they like death and mayhem and horror, and they would love a nuclear war. We used to study in college, and it was called MAD, Mutual Assured Destruction. So Russia has nukes, we have nukes, Pakistan has nukes, and nobody's going to push the button, because if we do, the world's gone. Luckily, that hasn't happened, but from my study of history, there's been some very close calls. Is God in control? Yeah. So why not try to think like God a little bit? That's what I try to do when you try to figure things out. Say, well, what would God do? How does God feel right now? Does he want the world nuked and ended? Or does he want this fight between good and evil? He wants the fight between good and evil. That's the plan. It's not everybody's good. That's Satan's plan. Forcing people to be good. Everybody's good. You have to be good. You're forced to be good. That's actually Satan's plan. God's plan, there's good and evil, and you use freedom and free agency to choose. 13:59, 14 minutes. Luckily, I can upload faster now. And I think about the 10 Days of Darkness. It's better than 10 Days of Darkness. They're using Fox News to get the word out, which a lot of people believe Fox News, even Joe Rogan. I like to watch Barron, because Barron's of age now. And so there's a thing called Barron News. I'm on Telegram a lot. I think it's Real Man of Truth on Telegram. And if you look at comments, I'm starting to, YouTube's a different world than it was a year ago. A way different world than 2 years ago. I was smart enough to never talk about Hillary and Obama. For like 15 years, I never talked about 60 years. I was smart enough not even to talk about Trump, who I loved. But if you mention Trump, boom, you're out of YouTube. Gone. Strike. Done. Gooch. Now you could actually talk. Freedom of speech kinda is coming back. But study the life of Christ and study the tribe of Judah. There's good people from the tribe of Judah, and there's extremely evil people from the tribe of Judah. Look what the tribe of Judah did to Jesus Christ. I rest my case for now. God bless America. Don't freak out. Things are just getting started, but a lot of evil has been taken off the earth. And I'm just glad that McAfee and there's some good people working like Juan McAfee and JFK Jr. of effing course. What a great guy he is. So when people like, oh, he died in a plane crash, it's just they're not that intelligent, or they don't want to use what Thomas Paine called common sense. Use common sense, folks. It makes sense. And if you really want to know the truth, go direct to him. He might tell you through a book, or through talking to somebody, or listening to me a tiny bit on some things, because I've never liked fiction. Juan likes Isaac Asimov and all these fiction things, and I was never into them. I wanted truth as good as I could. If I had to study Gibbon or Josephus, I wanted to find out the truth. Anyway, that's me. Okay, 16:35. Okay, I'm not even going to try to end it on this. Well, maybe I'll try to end it on 17 minutes. Thanks, YouTube. Thanks, YouTube. I know you've switched ownership, but thanks. I can talk about a lot of stuff now, including the Magador. Thanks, Magador. Thanks, J Mac. Thanks, Juanito. Ciao for now.